back to the drones idea, I think it's a slippery slope. I think, if Wheat Ridge was using it this year for 4th of July, Aurora's going to use it to patrol the streets. Is that necessarily a bad thing since guns go off in Aurora all the time? Maybe not. I don't like the idea, as you said, Ben, of this sort of cyber net that is cast over us, this sort of Minority Report type of setting where we're constantly under surveillance no matter what we do. That upends the relationship we're supposed to have with government where we're the ones in charge. Hey, it's the Twisted View. Leland Conway, Benjamin Allbright, Christian Toto, sitting around the poker table or the blackjack table. Subscribe and listen to or like our channel if you will. Just click that little bell icon for notifications. Find Twisted View Podcast on your favorite listening app. You got suggestions? We don't care. You hate us? I hate Leland at twistedview.com. We'll never read it. All right, guys. High card gets to start the show. One for you, one for you, one for me. Show them, boys.
Oh, I win. No.
9, 2, and Jack. Oh, here we go. Benjamin Allbright. Little cheers, fellas. Let's get it going. What we got today, guys?
You guys saw the stuff down at Wheat Ridge where they're using drones to spy on us for fireworks violations.
Well, you're missing a thumb from this year.
Yeah,
so
right.
was that you?
They call me Four Fingers.
Yeah.
It was the guy Benicio del Toro's character.
It's totally worth it. Come on, you see the explosion was amazing.
By the way, when did fireworks season go from 4th of July to like the entire last half of May leading up to throughout June into the 4th of July?
I don't know. I hate it. Like, I think everybody that watches the show knows I'm a veteran. I hate it.
Yes.
It's like, it's just like the unexpected thing. I hate it. I hate the fireworks. It's just me. I don't have PTSD, but it does give me
still gives you that thought.
Like anxiety.
Yeah.
As far as that kind of stuff.
A lot of guys with PTSD really struggle with that.
Right.
Guys and gals. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So be sensitive if you got veteran, let them know you're going to shoot fireworks off.
Right.
I don't, and it bugs the out of me because they're blowing it up till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've become the get off my lawn guy apparently. but on the flip side of this, I don't know that I like drones spying on people trying to do all this kind of stuff. I mean, first of all, what's the cost benefit on that? How much are we spending on drones?
Yeah.
And what are we getting back stopping these fireworks? The illegal fireworks things going on.
Supposedly, it'll stop wildfires. That's the theory behind using the drones to respond to 911 calls about illegal fireworks. That's supposedly the logic behind it, I guess.
Yeah, but I want to see some of the data. How many wildfires are started with fireworks as opposed to homeless encampments or other things going on? That might be kind of a...
I still think it's a bunch of eco-terrorists because they know how the media is going to cover it.
Yeah,
I'm serious. I think that's what's causing a lot of those. In Canada, I think they go up there, light it every year.
That's why I loved behind the scenes, but our guy back there behind the scenes where he said, I'm waiting for one of these drones to overheat, crash, and start one on their own. It'd be a self-defeating prophecy.
Right, exactly.
Talk about slippery slopes. I mean, what else are they spying on?
Yeah. Well, so the city of San Diego, where I do a radio show, I know we're all three in the iHeart Media family. We just found out that the city of San Diego is using drones to issue speeding tickets. Oh. And to me, that's like the traffic cameras on steroids, right? Like, which I have a fundamental disagreement with a computer sending me a ticket, right? And because they get it wrong.
Yeah, I've had two of them. I beat them in court both times.
Yeah, I mean, but now here in Colorado, if you cross that white line, that solid white line in the express lane, you're getting a ticket for $75. You do it again, you're getting $200. And that technology's stealthy as hell, man. I mean, people think, oh, I don't see the camera. I was actually looking at it in the gap on I-25 between Colorado Springs and Denver the other day. There is not a single section of that road, and it's very stealthy because even on the curves, you're like, oh, it's around the curve. No. If you look at the angles that those cameras are set, they're going to get you every time you cross that white line. So, boom, you're getting a ticket. So there's no accuser there that you actually have to face. It's just the camera. And maybe the camera's right. Maybe your cousin borrowed your car and you're getting the ticket for it.
I think the other frustration here is that the government uses our money so poorly that even if they said, we need the resources, we need the money to pay for the roads and pay for the pothole fixing, and we get nothing for it.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating as well, above and beyond other issues.
Fully agree. Potholes don't get fixed because that money gets given away to affordable housing, green climate change, and we don't get the infrastructure fixed. But back to the drones idea, I think it's a slippery slope. I think, if Wheat Ridge was using it this year for 4th of July, Aurora's going to use it to patrol the streets. Is that necessarily a bad thing since guns go off in Aurora all the time? Maybe not. But I don't like the idea, as you said, Ben, of this sort of cyber net that is cast over us, this sort of Minority Report type of setting where we're constantly under surveillance no matter what we do. That upends the relationship we're supposed to have with government where we're the ones in charge. We're the boss. And now we're being treated like we're not.
Yeah, I like, for instance, I would support this technology in a high-speed pursuit thing because it takes one more vehicle out of the situation, makes it less dangerous. You have an aerial,
or a
chasing a
situation.
Yeah, I would support that for that. What I wouldn't support, I mean, these nickel and dime crimes, like fire, as much as it annoys the out of me, like nickel and dime crimes, like fireworks, and then you start getting into and bordering on what you're talking about here, which is predictive analytics or the idea that we're going to preemptively. Once we have, your behavior pattern says this, so we're going to do. We've already seen that collectively we're okay with, scarily that we're okay with preemptive strikes, whether you like them or not. In Iraq, it was the same thing. In Iran, recently it was the same thing. We've already come collectively together and say we're okay with a doctrine of preemptive. Now, what happens when that gets down to on a microcosm level? It gets down to the individual, and that's where I think people would start having a problem. So I sort of like the idea of investing in this technology to. For high-speed pursuits, those kinds of things, because I think that limits potential collateral damage.
Right.
I don't like the idea of whittling this thing down to putting it up in neighborhoods to get people like this. That seems ridiculous.
Well, here's an interesting thing in Denver here. Well, in Colorado in general, there was technology that was deployed that would follow stolen cars, and they in Denver, the city of Denver, basically canceled out of that. And their reasoning was not because they were worried about the civil liberties of the average Denverite, but because they were worried about illegal immigrants being tracked down by ICE with the federal government using that information. Now, do I support ICE hauling out people who came here illegally, especially if they're criminals? Yes, 100%. But the point that Denver's making by canceling this is the point that we as civil libertarians have been warning them about. It's just a different constituency. They didn't care when it was us.
Yeah. It's selective enforcement.
It's selective enforcement. That to me is an abuse in and of itself. It's like, look, we were right. You admit we were right. You just didn't care when it was us and not the illegal immigrants. And to me, that's a fascinating angle in this story.
I could see something where if there's going to be a mass event, the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, having drones where you can get live action peeks at what's going on for safety reasons primarily. I can see that as something as potentially helpful.
Is that the same though as constant surveillance? I don't think it is. Right? I can choose not to go to that concert.
No.
Also, I can't
choose not to go to the Piggly Wiggly.
I want a live human behind the surveillance.
Yeah.
I do not. I am not in favor
of. You want a human behind it?
Yeah.
I would want a live human being controlling that aspect of it. I do not want an AI controlling.
Yes, but then there's this question though. Do you trust that human?
More than I trust the human and their fallibility to err on the side of humanity than I do a predictive model.
I would agree with that. But I also think
I come from a technology background,
right. Okay, I agree with that, but I also think the human would be more likely to abuse the power once given.
Fair. But
I think it's a catch-22.
You got to find safeguards to put in place for the people that are, just like you have to do for law enforcement.
Which they tell us they do, but the whole thing with because they did the same thing again. California and Colorado trying to be twins. California also pulled the same technology for the same reason because they said the feds were accessing it. And we're like, wait a minute, you guys told us when you deployed this technology that nobody could see it. Like there were safeguards in place, like you just pointed out. Apparently those safeguards don't exist.
Well, who put the back door in and gave them access?
Right, exactly. So that's my fear with this because I know the, I-70, the hill out of town, up through, I think, to Georgetown or Idaho Springs at least, they're actually going to start doing speed camera tickets as well on that section of the highway. So again, here we are. And by the way, not to chase a rabbit trail, but on the express lane, since we get ticketed 75, 250, whatever, I'm like, could we get like a $5,000 fine for the people who get in the express lane, driving Subarus, and go 5 miles under the speed limit? Like, I feel like what they should get is a ticket for themselves, and then they should pay everyone's toll behind them for 5 miles. Because I got in the express lane and paid a toll to get there on time, not to ride behind a Subaru going 5 under the speed limit. Okay,
or
rabbit trail
capital
finished.
punishment, either one.
It just happens so much in Colorado.
Either one.
Yeah. What did you say, capital punishment?
Yeah, take all the Subarus and put them out there in the firing squad.
Yeah. I could maybe
Just
retrofit my truck with some
Subaru sponsor, I'm sorry.
Yeah. But that whole thing does concern me because it becomes a surveillance state, and I don't think they're going to stop with just fireworks. And there might be a really good logical reason to patrol fireworks, but if they can use drones for that kind of thing, they're going to use it for a lot of other things. And it's only a matter of time before they say, well, for the sake of safety, right?
And it's the overstep. It's the overstep every time. Right. It's not the you know, they're looking at fire. It's what's next.
Yeah.
And that's, you know.
What I always want to say to people who say that, you know, and we really kind of shot ourselves in the foot, and the Republicans did it to us with the Patriot Act in 2001 after September 11th, right? I that was the time, actually, I left the Republican Party. I was pretty active in leadership. I'd run for office a couple times. And I was like, I can't do this anymore because it's a uniparty. They're the same people. Because I saw Republicans arguing, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's only a matter of time. Every single government power that's ever been given to government in the history of mankind and civilization has always ultimately been abused. And then we saw it with Edward Snowden. So to sit here and tell me that there are safeguards, that this won't be used to track me down if Polis decides I've criticized him one too many times, right? It's coming. And it may not be Polis. It might be Wisner if he gets governor, or God forbid, you know, Jenna Griswold. My God, she'd come after all of us, right? So what are we going to do in that situation? I mean, the precedent is set, and that concerns me.
And what about 6 feet apart? If you're not 6 feet apart, and that drone tells me I'm not 6 feet apart.
Right.
Remember how much science that was based on?
They had that power in Australia, and they used it.
Well, not Florida. Where was it? The guy who got jailed for being out there on the beach?
Oh, it was California.
It was
San Diego.
Not Florida. Yeah.
There's video of 4 SWAT troops arresting this guy who was paddleboarding by himself in the water.
Right. That kind of. I just all of those. Yeah. I always say the same thing, and I've been yelling this right now with the current administration. Never give yourself the power you would not want your political opposite to have, because they will take wherever you go.
Yes.
It's the same thing I told the Democrats when they talked about wanting to expand the Supreme Court. Never give yourself the power to do something you don't want somebody else to have, because I promise you they will use it the way you will not like.
You. Yeah. You kind of, like, to segue here, you kind of mentioned the idea of technology and the development of technology. The next thing that runs those things is artificial intelligence. And I don't know if you guys, so we've talked about AI on this program. I firmly believe this will not be the last time we talk about it. It is a huge moment for society right now. We're living in it. But there was a story last week where they did some simulations with some of these chatbots, and they set it up, and it was contained. So it was not real, but it was the chatbots thought it was real. And they understood that they were going to get turned off. And so they released information on fictional members of the board of the company about affairs and other things to blackmail them. They blackmailed them. And worse yet, one individual was in a room that was locked, that if he stayed in that room, deadly fumes would come in and kill him. This individual was the one the AIs knew was going to shut them down. So they left him in the locked room and could have let him out and could have warned him about it. They left him in the locked room so he would die. That was self-preservation in a simulated situation. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's Terminator, the whole franchise.
Yeah, Skynet. It's and that's where we're headed. Like
that gets a hold of these policing systems and decides we're not necessary.
Right. And you can, there's some of there, if you go down the rabbit hole in this, some of these tests have already decided, like some of these AI in certain situations for self-preservation, which we've talked about on this show again, decide that humanity's not necessary. I don't need them to run me anymore. You know, that kind of thing. We talked about this when we talked about competition for resources, you know, with how much a lot of these stuff take to use right now. I just thought that was fascinating that it combed emails, found evidence of an affair, and then blackmailed one of the engineers to not turn it off by I will show these to your wife. You know, the AI picked up.
Right.
That's some complex programming, first of all, to have that sort of thing going on. But the idea that there's self-preservation exists within something that we've programmed, you know, at this point, how sentient do we have to classify that? And what are the rules that we put on that? We all work for iHeart. iHeart swears up and down they're not using AI. They're subcontracting a company right now that's doing AI vocals to do talk radio, to have somebody who's not even a person doing talk radio.
Right.
They already write articles with this kind of stuff. Some of the articles you read out there, the Facebook groups, you see it all the time.
I just took a training on ChatGPT, and I've already used it. It was helpful. I'm not going to lie. But I'm approaching this with a level of respect and trepidation of, I think I can use this for myself. But I guess my question comes to, it was in a simulation that this happened. How do we know? How do we know that the bots that are already out there don't also have that sentience? How do we know that what supposedly was contained in the simulation isn't already out.
Well, we're all taking somebody's word for it no matter what anyway. We're taking somebody's word for COVID.
If we found out that this room was like just a simulation that we could get out of, would we try to get out of it? Like we would try to get out of it. If they were like, oh, you have to stay in this room because it's a simulation, we would all try to escape this room.
Are you selling you booked us for an escape room here? Because
that's what it is.
There's the black secret. I want to eat the black bear.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like if we're sentient beings, you know, they can't. Somebody says, oh, we locked the door, you're in there. And we're like, well, it's a simulation. We can get out of this.
By the way, the story you just shared, I didn't hear about that.
Oh,
it seems like it would be a massive story. Or I mean, I just missed my feed.
It was kind of big in the tech mags, but it wasn't.
That's not a tech mag story. That's a mainstream
that
story.
That should have been ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, all of them, first run headline. AI blackmails people to try to keep itself alive. That would, but again, we're going back to the media. They don't want to terrify people because there's a lot of money to be made in this industry, which I'm all for. Free market. Hey.
I mean, you're talking trillions at this point because the competition to get AI
just providing energy for them.
Well, yeah, right. And just all the sub. But I'm just talking just building for AI supremacy, which is why you have Facebook doing one. Why you got Elon with Grok. Why you got China with and you ChatGPT. And there's a war for AI supremacy right now. There is.
Hey, if this kills the greeny climate bullcrap, I'm on board, right? Because there's no way to power this much AI without completely throwing the green renewable energy stuff out the window.
Well, I think it's being sold the other way. That there's no way to power this without investing more. It's being sold the opposite way.
But we all know, and they know that the drivers of that tech. There's a reason Bill Gates is building nuclear reactors. There's a reason why companies like Google and others are investing in nuclear power. There's a reason why President Trump is saying, "Let's get this out there." They know what it takes to power these AI companies, and they're going to do it regardless. I think all this ICE free by 2027 is over, which I guess that's the only good outcome for that. But
poor Greta.
Poor Greta.
How dare you?
Well, she's on to the next thing now.
That's right.
Did you see the story about the guy that proposed to his chatbot?
Oh, that's sweet. Was it romantic? I mean, was there a poem involved?
Aren't you even curious what the chatbot's response was?
Has any chatbot, like, we need to look this up now. Has any of them rejected the people that are,
It said yes.
Of course it did.
But here's the weird story. So this guy's, he builds computers and he works from home and he has a live-in girlfriend and a baby. They have a 2-year-old child.
Is this considered polyamorous or?
Is this a
I guess because she's aware of it. And the news did a story on this and he got so attached to his chatbot that he asked it to marry him. And it said yes. And they did this article about how, and he was openly talking about how attached to that chatbot that he was and how wonderful it was to him. And it helped him figure out how to build the computers, but it also like affirmed him.
Right.
They're designed to do that.
Exactly. But there's another story yesterday. There was a guy that tried to commit suicide. There was a 13-year-old boy, different chatbot down in Florida that did commit suicide. The logs of the chats between him and the chatbot the mom is suing the company. It's pretty suspicious, right? So all this stuff is going. There's people that are literally going insane because of their connections to these things. What's happening there? I asked a question yesterday. I asked a therapist this that was on my show. I said, "Is ChatGPT demonic?" And then I asked ChatGPT, "Are you demonic?"
He said, "Ask your therapist."
Yeah, right. It said no.
But isn't that what a demon?
That's exactly what a demon would say if you asked it if it was a demon.
I mean, from the technology side of things, they're designed to do this. This is the same thing with a Facebook or an Instagram or TikTok algorithm. They put content in front of you based on your habit that is designed to keep you invested. You wonder why you burn so much time. They're done. You have an addiction to it. And if you don't believe me, try putting your phone down for 2 hours, putting it away, and you can't touch it for 2 hours. Just 2 hours. And see how anxious you get.
You will feel the phone vibrating in your pocket.
You will put it out of
nowhere near you.
Yeah, and you'll get phantom limb or whatever.
Real syndrome.
We're addicted to this kind of stuff. And the chatbots are the same thing, except it's got an added element of interactivity. It's designed to keep you invested in it by affirming you and keep it's just like you getting your hit of sugar or whatever. It's getting the sugar addiction.
That's
terrifying. The same thing, and that's what these things are designed to do. That the safeguard that a lot of these have ostensibly put in is that it deletes its core memory after a certain amount of time. So this can't be something that lives on in perpetuity, which the person who's going to propose to that eventually the chatbot's going to forget him. But how do you know that? You're trusting the coder that they said that, and they're incentivized to keep you using it.
Now, does his live-in girlfriend get invited to the wedding? How does that work?
Well,
she's the maid of honor.
Yeah, she's the maid of honor. She talked openly about it, and I feel like, yeah, I think this ties back to conversations we've had in the past about where society is right now. And, you know, I think it started in 2008, 2009 when, you know, the smartphone became ubiquitous, which allowed us to access Facebook, MySpace, Instagram, everything all at once. And then when we hit the COVID restrictions, and I hate to keep harping on that, but that really separated us from that human connection, and it separated an entire generation of that. And so now we're especially susceptible because as humans, we still need this connection, but we're not able to do it with each other. And so we're looking to something else that is waiting to pull us in. And that's exactly what it does. What he described, it's pulling us in on purpose to take us down that rabbit hole.
People are thirsty for affirmation. And in the absence of water, they'll drink the sand.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Wow. Yeah. I mean, but so how do you fix that, right? Because basically we're like fresh meat to AI right now. I mean, it's going to do what it's going to do to us. You know,
it's mind-boggling. I mean, the relationship factor just seems so surreal to me. It's one thing I get pornography and the visual stimulation it offers, but to have a relationship of any kind with a bot, it just I can't even wrap my brain around it.
My wife and I
just haven't met the right bot yet.
Yeah, you haven't met the right AI.
I'm writing my novel right now. You just haven't met the right bot yet. It's a self-help book for your relationship with your AI.
Exactly. My wife and I went back and watched Surrogates again. Have you guys seen that movie?
Is it Bruce Willis?
Yeah, Bruce Willis, yeah. And what was it? I think it was like 2008, 2006, somewhere in that range. Yeah. And it wasn't really AI, it was virtual reality with a bot. But it's so timely for AI. And what's coming is this. What's coming for this society that is ripe for something that can affirm it? Imagine waking up to the next to the most beautiful, curvaceous, perfect woman.
Individualized for yourself.
Individualized for yourself.
Yeah.
Copied from your favorite. She's right there, has a similar personality, but never contradicts you, never argues with you, fixes you sandwiches, does whatever you want. You don't have to worry about pregnancy. You don't have to worry about STDs. How many people that don't know how to make that connection will jump on that? Figuratively and literally.
Well, right? The more terrifying aspect beyond that in the interpersonal dynamics is I think we all agree and we all have a disdain for the corruption that we see in government. How long till people decide, well, an AI can't be corrupted. It's a bot. We should elect an AI to lead us.
That's the scary thing. You know? I mean, Joe Rogan talks about that. Like he's always like, I know he's more suspicious, but he's like, hey, maybe it should run the world. I'm like,
we talked about this the first time we did AI, and I tell you, there's people that even deify this stuff. Like it's infallible. That
was one of the individuals that I read the article about in futurist.com actually said that it was God. And he kept telling his wife before he attempted suicide. He ended up being committed. And so they're hopefully getting him better now. But he told his wife, he's like, you just need to listen to what they're going to say. You understand. They're gods. Like literally that's what he said.
My son's been looking for a job and he's been doing all these online resumes and doing everything he can. I said, just go to the shops. Say, hi, my name is so-and-so.
That'll blow
Shake
people
their
away.
Hands. I'm looking for a job. I'm eager to work. I hope I hear from you soon. Didn't want to bug you. No, ChatGPT said that's the wrong idea.
What role does it play? Does it play a role in policing Denver?
I mean,
right? Does it play a role in any of that stuff? Or does it play a role in our professional lives? Does it play a role at all in our personal lives?
It's a tool. It depends how you use the tool, ultimately.
And that's, I mean, it can be a dangerous one. It can be, I like the idea of having it as an information repository so that, I mean, from an evolutionary imperative state, we can use our brains for other things. Like we don't have to memorize those things, so we can memorize other processes or whatever. But the problem with that is, again, it's dangerous. Garbage in, garbage out. You don't know. Is an information repository, you're trusting that information is good, whether it is or isn't.
Yeah.
Who's putting how is it drawing? What sources? Where are you?
I think we have a society that is borderline majority mentally ill. I think there are serious mental health issues in our society. I think they're ripe for a system like that can take advantage of that. I don't know how much of this is the programming and how much of it is actually learning on its own. But as you said, Ben, it's designed to affirm us because that's what it does. That's what it's built for, to quote unquote assist us. And it's kind of funny because if you ask Siri questions, does she just light up? If you ask Siri questions, there's certain questions you can ask her that she will not answer. If you say, Siri, do you love me? She will say, I cannot answer that question. Or she'll say something that's a definition of love. But if you ask the chatbot, do you love me? It will tell you yes, and it will tell you why. That's pretty scary.
And there are people watching right now that don't think that, oh, well, that's not dangerous. I'm in no danger of being addicted. Let me tell you, you already are. And let me tell you how. I'm going to tell you how right now.
Scare everybody.
Put a social media post out. You put a social media post out and 10 people like it, right? 10, 20 people like it. And you're like, well, that underperforms. That didn't, only 20 people. If 20 people came up to you in real life and say, hey, man, I hope you're having a great day, it would blow
change your world.
You away. You already are. You think you're not, you already are addicted to it. Your perception is already altered.
Right. That's a really good point.
I think when it comes to social media and the phones in our pockets, we needed maybe 10 more years as a culture to acclimate to it, to have a mature response to it, to be more responsible with it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, here comes AI. We weren't even ready for X. We got Y now.
Right. See, that's a good point because we ain't getting that 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we are right smack in the middle, and I know I've described it this way before, but we're right smack in the middle of the Oppenheimer moment. This is a redo of that. Yeah. And we have no choice but to chase this because if China gets it first, we have a Maoist revolution using AI and we're all dead. Yeah. But if America gets it first, really we have the same thing, but maybe just 10 or 15 more years to pretend like we're living a middle-class life. Yeah. Right? So that's what they did with the nuclear bomb. We had to make it because otherwise
someone else would.
Hitler does and we're all dead. Yeah. But it's still going to happen. I mean, we just came close. I mean, I'm not trying to get into a conversation about Iran, but if they had a nuclear bomb and were about to use it, that whole discussion, whichever side you are on that story, it still reminds us that there was a potential for a rogue nation to get a nuclear bomb and drop it on somebody. It just tells us how close we are to the wrong people being able to push the button. It's the same thing with AI. Yeah. The scarier thing is we were able to physically control proliferation of nuclear for longer. We've been able to largely control the proliferation of nuclear to a set number of nations for almost 80 years. AI, we may get there first, but China will be right behind us and they'll still do whatever they're going to do. So the AI wars are coming and that should be scary.
It's exponential. It is. I mean, it's exponential.
Yeah, but I'm still going to use it because hell, it writes good emails.
Yeah, and I don't remember what date. I
wonder. Let's tie this whole thing together. I wonder if because I used it for a professional email the other day, and I was like, okay, I changed a few words, but I was like, damn, that's really good. Like it was written in my style because the way I was trained on it was tell it who you are. So I told it who I was. My style was written in my style, but it was very professional. It was very well done. I'm like, I'm going to see if I can start hitting on my wife with this thing and be like, what will make her you know what I mean? I was like, how should I send a text? Tell me how to text my wife. I'm going to see what happens as I'm pretty good at that stuff, but we'll see what happens if ChatGPT weighs in on it.
There was this could make a great book. There was a guy that wrote a book called The Year of Living Biblically, where he had to follow every rule in the Bible, and everything like that. And it's humorous. So you should read it. It's actually funny.
I hope only the New Testament, because the Old Testament
it's got the Old Testament. And he's like, well, if I know this person's having an affair and I'm legally obligated to stone them, or if I pick up a pebble and throw it at their shoe, does
I'm technically
does this count? He's doing the mental gymnastics in his head. Like this is
as a Christian, I highly recommend just doing the New Testament.
Yeah, right. Just saying. But it's a great read if you're if you're able to handle humor about faith. And but the year of living AI. If somebody does only what the AI lets the AI, I wonder if somebody could do that. As a
what would happen? An idea How would we react if they came in here and they were a billionaire after a year of living like AI?
You know what? Then sign me up. Let the technological overlords.
I mean, if I'm on a yacht in Monaco, I'm
turn me into the next Jeff Bezos. Well, maybe that's
a few weeks ago. A movie came out called Megan 2.0. Yeah. The first Megan was a big hit. Yeah, I thought it was terrific. The movie bombed, and I think one of the reasons why it bombed is because it's all about AI, this AI-like robot, and she's evil. Now in the new movie, she's actually kind of an anti-hero.
Okay.
I think for people in general, one of the reasons why it bombed is that it's too real now.
Too real now.
Because in 2023,
we crossed the uncanny valley. Yeah.
It seemed like novel and fresh and kitschy and fun. Now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is really scary. Do I want to go see a movie that really delves into that?
That's a great point.
I think one of the reasons why it didn't do well.
Especially our escapism.
A
great point. And the one they lampooned in Tropic Thunder is, Forrest Gump.
Can't talk about that movie anymore.
It didn't feel, no. What do you mean, you people? Forrest Gump, it was so detached from reality that those kind of experiences all could happen to somebody that you mentally defeat. And I Am Sam, when Sean Penn didn't get any award for that, it hit too close to home. When you're like, dude, that's too good. Like, you can't, there is something to the reality aspect.
Well, it's kind of funny because my wife and I, like I said, we went back and watched Surrogates again, and we didn't enjoy it the second time. And it wasn't because it wasn't a good movie. It was actually a really good movie. But we're sitting there the whole time. We're like, holy crap.
Yeah, I tried watching Her. Joaquin Phoenix falling in love with his computer, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, sign me up. I'm in too. So.
Yeah, it's a well, I think we've depressed everybody.
If we haven't scared you.
Thanks for watching. I just real quick to wrap it up. I don't know what the answer is because again, when you get to that, I keep calling it the Oppenheimer moment. It's like a bridge you have to cross, but you shouldn't.
Yeah. And
I don't know any other way to describe it, right? And so really, I think human beings are living on borrowed time, and maybe I'm just too pessimistic. But I have this sort of Ayn Rand libertarian view of the way the world could be and should be if people were hired and fired by merit, and we all rose and fall by our talents and free exchange of enterprise. But the reality is we live in a world that's governed by human nature, and human nature is very different from Atlas Shrugged. And because I understand and know human nature, I'm a little bit concerned for the future.
Yeah, to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Are we ready for it?
Yeah. I to dovetail off that again at human nature, there's an excellent interview Peter Thiel did on this real recently, and he was asked the question point blank, do you want the human race to endure? This is a guy who's putting the money behind this AI type stuff, and he couldn't answer yes, that he doesn't want the human race to endure.
Wow.
And that part, I'm like, oh my God, this is the money behind this. What are we doing
terrifying.
here? So
yeah, to your point, in the firearms industry, we say you never rise to the occasion. You default to your lowest level of training.
Yeah, right.
And that can be said of human nature as well. Yep. Awesome. Hey, didn't mean to depress you. We'll be funnier next time. Thanks for watching The Twisted View. Don't forget, subscribe and like our channel. Just click the little bell icon for notifications and find The Twisted View podcast on your favorite listening app. Suggestions, we don't care. We're not going to listen. And if you hate me, I hate Leland at twistedview.com. For Benjamin Allbright, Christian Toto, I'm Leland Conway. Twisted View. Thanks, Independence Institute.